the last bit of the sun tonight. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight on this beautiful balmy Tuesday night. It looks gorgeous from out the window that I can see, and I'm really appreciative that you're here tonight to talk all things soccer. We are so excited to be here presenting tonight to you. This webinar is being recorded and we'll go on some council websites after this for your information. So I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we're all meeting tonight, which is quite varied, far and few between, and acknowledge that it's their land, always was and always will be. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, and any elders who may be joining us here at this webinar tonight. So my name is Tamara Mason and I am the Female Sport Participation Officer at Moreland City Council. And as I said, I'm really excited that 5 councils have collaborated together to present this webinar across Victoria today in partnership with Vic Health as part of the This Girl Can campaign. It's a hugely successful campaign that was thwarted due to COVID, and we are really excited that we're able to pick up on the last bit of the year by presenting some webinars to you. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. You're all on mute and you don't have your video on, so like I said, if you're kid wrangling or racing home from work or enjoying a pina colada on the back deck, credit to you, because we can't see you, we can't hear you, so you get to just kick back and take some time for yourself and enjoy the webinar. There is a chat function and there is a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. So if you'd like to use the chat function to ask any questions, if you have any tech issues, use the chat function. Joe is behind the scenes as part of the Moreland Community Connection account, so message him if you've got any issues. Otherwise, throw your questions into the Q&A section where other people can see them. If you like a question, give it the thumbs up and we'll get to those after Heather's speech. So to the fabulous Heather McGiddy, I'd really like you to introduce you to Heather. Heather's a Moreland resident and she is an experienced program coordinator and deliverer and is passionate about women's sport for a positive social impact. A mum herself, Heather understands the desire to find some me time and look after herself, and she found this thanks to a local program designed by women for women. So Heather's going to share her screen with us tonight and share her story, and as I said, there's time for questions at the end. So Heather, welcome, thanks for joining us and take it away.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction and for having me, and I'm really grateful for everyone making the time to come and join us tonight. I feel privileged that you want to hear about this, and I'm also really excited that perhaps you're interested in finding ways to do sport or get active for yourself. That is a wonderful thing. So before I begin, I'd like to echo Tamara's words to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations, where I'm coming to you from tonight. And I pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. And in recognition also of NAIDOC Week, I think it's utterly appropriate to acknowledge that this land always was and always will be Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander land. So now I will share my screen. Let me find the right screen. Okay. I think I've got this. And I present. All right.
Perfect.
Great, thank you. So I'm here tonight to talk to you about my experience in helping mums play soccer. So just for a bit of linguistics and terminology, sometimes I'll say soccer, sometimes I'll say football. I think of it as football being the world game, but in Australia, many people call it soccer. So I might flip between it. And I've learned that mums can play soccer and mums are amazing at soccer. And if you find the right environment in which to play or participate, you can feel this good. We see an image here of one of the participants from the Brunswick City program that I was running, and she's utterly awesome. So Soccer Mums was the program that I was running. It's now called Go Soccer Mums, and it's funded by Vic Health, and it started 3 years ago. And one of the most amazing aspects of it is that it was a research project and evaluated by La Trobe Uni's Centre for Sport and Social Impact. And the sole purpose of it was to help inactive women become active again in ways that work for them. And here you can see in this image some amazing Brunswick City participants in blue and some mums from Ballarat, soccer mums. We were playing at halftime on Amy Park at a W League match. So we had some amazing stories to tell there. So the program is a social program aimed at supporting women to participate. It's fun, as I said, it's social, it's for any fitness level, all fitness levels. It's for all experience levels. You don't need to have to have played previously. And what I love about the environment is there's no judgment, both for the participants and for the person delivering the program. In this case, that was me, and that was really important to me. You'll find it run at clubs, so football clubs, usually at the same time as the children's training session, which is one of the key aspects that made it much more accessible for women. It was run by Football Victoria in partnership with Melbourne City FC, and now, as I said, it's a sustainable model as Go Soccer Mums. And this is how it all began for me, just over a year and a half ago almost, on one cold June night, the worst time of the year to start an outdoor activity. 10 women and 2 daughters turned up to have a go at our club, Brunswick City. And I loved how brave they were. Of that group, there were actually 4 existing friendships, and they'd bring their daughters along, and to make sure that they felt comfortable knowing what to expect before they came along, I'd send them an email and say, this is where the parking is, this is where the toilets are. If you're anything like me, you need to know this kind of information. I'd let them know a little bit about me, why I was doing this and why this was important for me. I'd let them know what to wear, what to bring, all of that kind of stuff. The most important part of making the program successful was, though, asking the women, why are you here? And when I asked them that, these are the answers that I got. I'm here for myself. I want to do something just for me. I want to have fun. I want to learn something new. I want to meet new people. And I want to feel good. And I could really connect with that. As mums and as women, we're often pretty busy taking care of everyone else. We don't often find ways to schedule time just for ourselves. So this was that fantastic opportunity. But I think what's really interesting as well is the reasons that weren't there. They didn't want to become an amazing football player. They didn't want to be super fit. They didn't want to be perfect at playing. They just wanted to do this largely for themselves. And there's a wonderful example here of one of our wonderful participants who shared that this weekly event really gave her an uplifting experience every week and helped her through some challenging moments. Throughout this program, the women just are incredible. We created friendship and support for each other. We created a sense of belonging, identity. We thought of ourselves as being able to play. We can play football. We improved our fitness. We increased our confidence, and I'll tell you more about that later on. We created pathways for participation, and it was the start of some wonderful change at our club. We also supported the women throughout the purpose of the program to get active. At each session, it wasn't a complex process. We'd warm up, we'd learn how to manage any injuries or niggles that we had, we'd learn some ball skills. We talk about the rules of the game, so we could talk about what offside was, how to do a throw-in, what's a goal kick. We talk about positioning and communication. And I can remember the first few sessions, because this is my first time being a coach, I was learning as I was going. I remember the first few sessions thinking, I don't know if this is working. Am I doing this right? And then at the 5th session, it was amazing. The women were moving off the ball, they were passing, they were looking up, they were talking to each other, and it kind of clicked. And that is a testament to the effort that the women put in, but also their willingness to try something new. We also created some amazing friendships And that happened because we were sharing connections through this experience. We were learning something together and being brave enough to try to succeed and also to fail. But more importantly, every time we did fail, and we did, we would laugh. We'd listen to each other's stories and we'd offer support. And we got to do some fun social things together, like going to W League matches and watching those games together. And the atmosphere there is super family friendly, and you get really close to the game, so you feel quite a connection to what's happening. So that was a beautiful aspect. This is something that I was perhaps most excited about, and that was the growth of confidence. For me personally, I grew in confidence to be able to think of myself as a coach, someone who's confident at this, great at this, can do this. The women began to think of themselves as a player. They felt confident to play with their kids and their family. Two of our participants with those glorious beaming smiles felt confident enough to join a futsal competition. One of them decided to become an assistant coach of a girls' team at a neighbouring club. And even when you're watching the football, they were feeling confident to be able to talk about the game. I know what's happening. I know, if that ref made a dodgy call, I can talk about that with confidence. And they also felt confident to lead in a match. Speaking of matches, the program wasn't designed with friendly matches as part of it. So one of the women once said to me, "Are we ever going to play any games, Heather?" And I thought, you know what? That's right. We need to. So I contacted our neighbouring program and we organised a friendly match with the wonderful Darebin Falcons. But before that, we also decided to enter as a team into a World Cup competition. Not the real World Cup, obviously, but a local one run in Darebin. And many of these women had never, ever played a game of football before. So courageous, so brave. And we were feeling pretty nervous, and I'd injured myself, so I was going in goals. And the coach of Darebin Falcons said she would coach us. And then we found out the team we were going to play against was actually the Ballarat Soccer Mums. So there were sighs of relief all around. I'll just share that photo with you. You can see us all smiling there. And that was the most amazing experience. We cheered for the Ballarat Soccer Mums, who were playing as Tunisia. We were playing as South Africa in the lovely lime green. And we cheered when they scored, and they cheered when we scored. And there was such a strong feeling of camaraderie. It's really what the spirit of football is all about. And even though these women had never played a game of football before, they got on there and they put their pride on the line, if you like, and had a go. So I think this is a real example of discovering that you are more than you think. They're players, they're leaders, they're great communicators, they're flexible thinkers, they're able to challenge themselves and to challenge others. And I remember at one of the early sessions, I used to like to share bits of information that I would get as I was reading or coming across information. And I shared a quote from a book by Abby Wambach, who's a USA World Cup, Olympic medal winner with the USA. She wrote a book called Wolfpack, all about supporting women to feel their own power. And I shared something that was really pertinent to me, that how as women, we often don't pursue things because we think that we need to be perfect before we try. But what I thought was really interesting is that for centuries, imperfect men have done a pretty average job in some cases of leading, but that hasn't held them back. So we would share this information and decide, yep, you know what, we're going to do this. And we did. And we formed some amazing friendships. And I would find at the end of each term, because the program would run typically during school terms, at the end of each term, the women would say to me, Heather, we're doing this next term, right? And I hadn't thought that far ahead. And I'd be like, yes, of course we are. And so we would. And then at the end of the year, they said, we've got to do an end of season brunch. I'm just going to unmute myself, sorry. We had an end of season brunch in typical Brunswick style. And this is the photo of our friendly match against Brunswick City, as Brunswick City against Darebin Falcons, with my son there in the blue, the impartial referee. But I invite you to have a look at the faces there of the women, and I wonder what you see. I wonder if you see elite athletes who have the most specialized training equipment, or I wonder if perhaps you see people just like you, women and kids like you. Perhaps you're a busy person. Perhaps you're a carer. Maybe you work outside of the home full-time or part-time. Probably you have a million things on your mind. Probably you're stressed by daily life. And we don't often put ourselves first, but we love how we feel when we get active, and we love to have a good laugh. We enjoy friendship and connection now more than ever. So I encourage you to think about ways that you could get active, and invite a friend to come along with you. That's a really, really powerful move that can support women to have a go. So if you'd like to find out how to get involved, how to find a program with you, you can jump on the Football Victoria website, or they have a platform called Go Football, and you can look up the Go Soccer Mums program. Or if you happen to be a Moreland local, feel free to get in touch with us at Brunswick City, and the email address is there. But most of all, you've got this, you can do this. And that is me. So thank you so much for listening. And I believe tomorrow we're having questions, is that right?
Yes. Heather, that was awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think the message for me out of that is it's not necessarily just about the program, it's about the connections and the reason why we play. It's so important, and I see it every day in my role is, you know, we want clubs and schools and gyms and everywhere to create safe and welcoming environments for women. And it doesn't happen naturally. It should, but it doesn't happen naturally. And I think, yeah, the fact that you've been able to create such a special program at Brunswick City is a testament to you and the club. So I have a question for you is, honestly, what do you think made the mums keep coming back? Like, what was it?
Good question. I think they formed strong connections, and I struggle with taking credit for things, but I think I provided a welcoming environment. I think I created a space where it was okay to stuff up. It's okay to just be yourself. And something that I learnt early on is just to ask people what they would like, rather than just assuming that you know what they want. Ask them and then listen to them, and then respond to them. So I think that made a big difference.
Yep, absolutely. And if anyone else has got any questions, feel free to throw them into the chat or into the Q&A section. But Heather, we know that 64% of Victorian women who are inactive want to actually get active in the next 12 months. Can you tell us why Go Soccer Mums is the perfect program for that? Like I said, it's not necessarily just about the program. I think the environment's got a lot to do with that. But why do you think that the way the program's set up is perfect for women looking to get active again?
I think because it's designed to take the pressure off, and as the deliverer, the person facilitating the program, we learn that it's really important to make sure the environment is appropriate. So we help set the expectations of what you are going to encounter when you come there. So some of those perhaps questions that women or participants might have in the back of their mind, like, oh, I don't know what it's going to be like, or I don't know what to wear, or I don't know where to park. We just remove a lot of those barriers. And part of the delivery methodology is to make it fun and to make sure that people are having a good time, and to mix it up and be really flexible and adapt. And of course, it's designed to make you feel a sense of connection, so that makes you want to come back. And then someone who is delivering the program well, if you don't come along, will also check in and say, hey, I noticed that you weren't there. I hope everything's okay. Is there anything that I can do to help you come along to the next session? So making people feel valued, I think, is at the core of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Making people feel valued, I think, is something we do every day with our friends and our family, and I think we need more of that. And the last one from me before we get into the questions from the group. Around 1 in 3 women feel that sporting clubs are not welcoming for women like them. So what makes Brunswick City different? Because you've created a really special program there. So what makes them different, and how did they, I guess, make it a really supportive environment for women to take part of the program?
You're right. A lot of clubs are not necessarily considered female friendly, and we have some work to do at Brunswick City, which I'm going to be working on. Simple things like making sure that there's imagery around the club of women and girls, making sure that on the social media you can see women and girls, making sure that there's representation on the committee in decision-making positions of women, female coaches, pathways. There's so many things that clubs can do, and we're working to get better at those things at Brunswick City. But there's also some amazing initiatives out there for clubs. They can reach out to their state sporting association or the local council. I know so many resources are available there to help them find out how they can be more supportive to women and girls. So the help is there.
Yep.
To take it up.
Absolutely. Shout out to activemoreland.com.au. You can find a plethora of resources. A question, where did it go here from Bobby? What were some of the challenges that you had to face while running Soccer Mums?
I think one of the first challenges was my confidence. I've played the game, but I've never coached. So I think just as much as you challenge the participants to have a go, as the deliverer, I needed to challenge myself to have a go. I think some of the challenges can be finding the women. So we did that by spreading the word at the club, but also what was really effective was going to schools and getting onto the school community Facebook pages, the local Good Karma networks, and of course having the support the support of Active Moreland was wonderful to help spread the word. So confidence for me, spreading the word. I have to say the club has been wonderful in making sure that we have access to grounds and we're scheduled in. Even when we had that return from COVID, briefly in June, the club had us on the pitch, so we were one of the first clubs to get back, which is wonderful. So, yeah.
That's amazing to see. Amazing to think that a club could think about a program like this and the importance of it and prioritise access to facilities and the ground at the time that suits the women, especially post-COVID. We're all talking about bouncing forward after COVID, so I think this program is going to be an important one for people to get involved in. So a couple of other questions for you here, Heather. Some I'm confident you will nail. Others we might have to go away and get some information and send it to our attendees. What did you do if someone felt like the activity was too demanding for them?
So I think by asking how people felt as they were doing the activity, some women sometimes would say, oh, that doesn't feel right for me. And so we'd say, okay, what if we tried it? Wonderful thing is it's so flexible and it's so driven by the participants that you can change it. I know I had one participant who didn't feel comfortable playing the friendly matches, and we talked about it. And she said, I really love coming to the program, but playing in the matches is not for me. So I was like, that's fine. That's totally cool. And I think she felt supported that she wasn't pressured to do that at all. So yeah, listen and respond, sit it out. Or at our program, I liked having the children participate as long as the parents felt it was safe, and also that I felt it was safe. So that meant that more women could participate with their daughters. And sometimes if we judged that it wasn't safe for the daughters because we were getting a bit excited and active and committed in our style of play, I might have asked one of the daughters perhaps to do some scoring or to run and collect the balls for us. So you can be flexible with the way that you run it and problem solve together.
Yep, that's fabulous. Question from Norma. Here's a great one, and I think one that after running a program you always struggle with. What strategies would you recommend to motivate more people to join the program? So Norma and her crew started the program. They had 4 at the start of the year, and when she starts again, she wants to get more mums involved. What advice have you got for Norma?
I think after interruptions like COVID or mum life, actually, it can be hard for people to get back to it. But I think people connect to stories and people connect to really authentic invitations. So I think if you could do even a video of some participants saying, this is so much fun, come and enjoy with us. I think that can be quite powerful. And we know that the research says that a lot of women don't respond to the kind of marketing that's around influencers or fitness gurus. They can't relate to it, but they can relate to real people like you. So I think attract them with your personal stories, testimonials, videos, and make personal contact if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look on the This Girl Can website, thisgirlcan.com.au, there's the stories of the women, the ambassadors, and they're fabulous stories because they are local women and they look like you and me, and they sound like you and me, and they have the same challenges, and they have different challenges, and they have their own challenges. And I think what I really like about the fact that they've selected Victorian women to be the ambassadors is, you know, they're not just everyday women, because we're all amazing, but they're everyday women doing everyday things and finding time to prioritize themselves. And yeah, it's incredible. So yeah, jump onto the This Girl Can website. There's heaps of resources there to look at other motivating stories. And another question here from Carol. Carol, if you're in England, thank you so much for joining us. This is fabulous. It must be either very early or very late for you there. So thank you. What plans, Heather, do you have to increase the program between now and 2023? World Cup.
Oh, what an amazing question. So I think from a program development perspective, I'd have to throw to Football Victoria as the state sporting association and Football Australia, shout out to you, about how they are planning to grow women and girls football from a governance perspective or strategic perspective. I know at our club at Brunswick City, we're looking to increase our girls programs, junior girls, and teenage girls as well, continue with our soccer mums, and also increase our senior women's teams. We want to make sure that we go to more matches. We want to raise the visibility of not only the W League, but the national team within our club. We want to talk about it, get it out there, invite people to come along to a match with you. When you see on social media that only the male teams are talked about, say something about it, comment on it. So that's from a grassroots perspective. Yeah, I'd have to defer to the state and national sporting associations for the strategic perspective.
Yep, no, I'm sure there'll be lots coming, I think. If the Cricket World Cup's anything to go by, there's going to be loads of community activations leading into a World Cup here in Australia and New Zealand. So yeah, a fun few years ahead. And maybe the last question we've got from Mercedes around when the Deliverer program will resume from Football Vic. That would be on Football Vic's website.
I'm not sure if it is, but I did hear from Football Victoria that they were looking to run one in November. I'm not sure of the date, but again, contacting Football Victoria would be the best way to go. Yeah,
awesome. Well, Heather, it's been amazing. There's lots of lovely messages in the chat there to say thank you, and very inspiring stories. I love hearing from local women who are actually out there in the community trying to engage more women to be more active, and I think you're doing a fabulous job, so thank you very much, and thanks to everyone who attended. We've got a really quick poll that we'd love to run. We're running across all of our 15 webinars just after some feedback from you for attending, and then we're going to do a random prize draw for the winner of the Fitbit. So the poll should be on your screen now. If you can click away, that would be amazing. And then we'll announce the winner. Awesome. We'll just leave it up there for a little bit longer. Nearly there. Couple to go. And then I'm going to end the poll. All right. Thank you very much for answering those questions. That's amazing. There's lots of great answers, and yes, there's lots of people who want more of this. So, where I said there's another 13 or 14 webinars to come across the month of November. So jump onto the This Girl Can Facebook page. Under the events section, you'll see the events, or look at the Moreland, Whittlesea, Yarra Ranges, Manningham, and Darebin's Facebook pages, and you'll find the events under there too. So there's plenty of events, lots of interesting topics, and lots of real women to talk or hear from, I guess. So the last thing from me is the winner of the Fitbit is Amrita. Congratulations, Amrita. Well done. We'll be in contact with you in the next 24 hours, and we'll work out how we can get that out to you in these COVID times. So congratulations. I said thank you everyone for coming. It's great to see you all. We really look forward to seeing you at future webinars. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your evenings.